Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and being here. I think you're in for a real treat. We're going to have some great conversations about artwork, specifically the artwork that is currently on display in the exhibition In Awe, Transformative Landscapes at the West Vancouver Community Arts Council's headquarters, the Silk Purse Arts Center in West Vancouver. My name is Stephen Snyder. I am the Arts Council's Gallery and Communications Coordinator, and I will be your host this evening. And with us, we have, for now, one of our exhibiting artists, Shweta Patil. Our other artist, Riitta Peirone, should be along any minute. We're just having some. Oh, amazing! Here she
Oh,
is.
there she is. Wow.
This is
Timing.
perfect timing. This is excellent. Hi, Riitta.
He's still figuring out the sound, I
Yeah,
think.
excellent. Well, uh, yeah, so we're going to have a great conversation with both of these artists. They're going to tell us a bit about themselves, about their work. We're going to see a sneak peek at some of their work, and hopefully it will inspire you to come on down and see the exhibit while it's still up here in West Vancouver. Awesome. Hello, Riitta. Welcome.
Hi, sorry for that glitch.
Oh, all good.
So, yes, is it flooded down there?
No, we're doing great. No flooding at the gallery.
That was my first question too.
Good.
Excellent. So we're currently live now, which is fantastic. Both of our artists are here, Riitta and Shweta. So we'll get to meet them in a little bit. Just wanted to say a few things about the exhibition at the Silk Purse, which is on the unceded and traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, in particular the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, the Squamish Nation, and we're incredibly grateful to our host nations for their stewardship of these beautiful lands since time immemorial, and are excited and honored to be able to celebrate and create all kinds of art alongside and with our host nations. And the beautiful nature and landscape and that connection is, I think we're going to hear a lot more about that from our fantastic artists, because that seems to be the inspiration. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more. In Awe Transformative Landscapes features beautiful landscapes, seascapes, mountains, forests, rivers, all kinds of natural beauty that these two incredibly talented artists have decided to depict in their own unique and interesting ways. So with that out of the way, let's get to know our artists a little bit. Let's start with Shweta. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Stephen. My name is Shweta Patil, and I will just give you a brief background about my art exploration. So I was born and raised in India. India is a very colorful and very culturally rich land. And anyone who's raised in India gets exposed to some kind of art, even if they like it or not. I think that's the way it is. And since childhood, I've been exposed to different things, which is just a part of our culture. So I picked up a few things from here and there. And I started sketching as an artist, as a child, and I started sketching animals, and then moved on to portraits when I was in school, and that's how it began. And I kept doing some random things. I was not very consistent with what I was doing, and I'm not a trained artist per se, so I really did not have a direction, like I said. So I did some watercolors, and I did take a private class in oil painting, so that went on for a while while I was in college. So nature was always the inspiration, nature all around, and kept doing, exploring different mediums. And that's how it began for me. two of the events that really gave me direction was first one was when I moved to the United States in North Carolina, Raleigh. And that's when I was there to pursue my business administration master's. And we had a design school very close to the business school. And I was very attracted to that. I used to go there and I audited a few classes from there, and my teacher was Lope Max Diaz, who I'm still in touch with on Instagram. And he was a wonderful teacher. And he was the one who introduced me to acrylics and the basics, the techniques, and how you use it. And it worked out well because it dries faster. So you have to work faster. And that's where I started. And the undergrad students, that was my group. And those are the people that I learned from at the point. And that's when I actually started working consistently. So again, nature was the theme always. And it used to be florals and trees and mountains. That's how I continued for a few years. I started working in technology. And then after the birth of our son was the second moment, the second point when I met another group, which was a local group in Raleigh. And it still is it's a really good, wonderful group of different artists. And they've been doing it for years now. All of us have developed different styles over time, and we can see the journey for each and every one of us individually. So that's when I really gave myself some time and developed a style over time, I think. And initially, I used to think that I know something, but I really didn't know anything. And I figured it out eventually from different people in the group. And I learned from them. And they are all my teachers, even now. Like some of them were school teachers for art. So those are the people that I have learned from. And so that's the background. I'm still continuing with my exploration as different using different mediums. And along the line, so nature exploration was part of the background because both my husband and I love to visit national parks, and that's where I take pictures and use that as a reference. And over time, I have realized that it's about knowing that this is where we belong, and we are actually nature, and we can actually find answers to all our questions in nature if we choose to listen carefully and observe. So part of the reason now is to remind people of the fact that this is where we are from, and we have to go back to roots, go back to basics, and find our answers. And I think this is just an observation that I feel collectively we have lost the ability to listen, which is important, especially the nature around us. BC is a beautiful place, and that's where we can, uh, if we choose, we can learn so much in life. And that is one of the points why I still continue to explore nature. And fun fact before I stop talking. So we visited the dinosaur museum in Drumheller this year in summer. And I remembered that dinosaurs existed for 165 million years on Earth. And for humans, it's been a few thousand years, I think, 200,000 or something like that. So, and we're supposed to be smarter. So I'm really hoping that we are not responsible for our own destruction, and we hopefully we choose to conserve nature and respect nature, and hopefully we think about the kind of footprint that we're going to leave behind. So that's a background in a nutshell.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and for making those very salient points about our connection to the land around us, and maybe it's where we can learn a few things about how to act properly and deal with all the situations that are around us. Like as you said, nature's got all the answers. Awesome. Well, thank you. Riitta, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you as an artist?
Well, I'm Riitta Peirone, and I was born in Finland, actually, and I lived in Toronto for a long period of time. And one of the first things that I remember is when we were first living in Canada. I was 2. My mom had all these children's books, Finnish children's books, and I would draw in the book, on the covers, on the pages. And so I was always drawing. I went to art college and I worked in publishing and I worked in advertising. And when I moved to Vancouver, I instantly fell in love with this nature. It was such a big departure from Toronto, and I just loved being able to walk and observe different parts of BC. Not that I do it as much now. I depend on my son and daughter to do amazing photographs for me on their hikes and their trips. And so I use their work for photo reference, but I like plein air painting as well. So that's another connection, direct connection to nature, which I really enjoy. So I just continue and see where I will go from here.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those insights, Riitta. It's a great, sounds like a varied journey you've been on, both of you, coming to art kind of as a constant in your life, coming to it as a vocation, after trying a few other things, but kind of always having your foot in there. That's great. Well, now I think we're going to give everyone a view of the work on display. You can see some of it in my background of the exhibition at the Soap Purse. But we're going to take a quick video tour of the show where you can see the artwork by these 2 talented artists. This is kind of what you see if you come in off of our waterfront entrance. Then we start off on the right-hand side. You get to see some of Riitta's fantastic work, which there's some acrylic and some oil paint. Do you have a preference for media, Riitta?
Well, I was painting oil for a long time. It's wonderful to work with, but I switched back to acrylics recently. So yeah, I go back and forth.
You need a lot of patience for oils.
Well, the oils have a quality of their own. One thing that I find frustrating is the cleanup.
Yes.
So
Have you tried the water-based oils?
no, but I talked to someone that uses them, and I don't know if I want to invest in yet another set of paints.
Yeah, I have heard that those are easier to clean.
Yes, they are.
As we were moving through your work there, Riitta, there was some
Snow is my
really
favorite piece, I told her.
excellent. And then we have a little bit of space, and then we move on to Shweta's work. the exhibition is on this at the Silk Purse until December 21st. So it's been up for about a week, roughly. Already, we've had great comments from visitors who have just found it such a refreshing and joyful and even inspiring exhibition to have at this time of year when things are kind of wet and dark, to come in and see all of this beautiful color and texture and light that you've both used to capture these familiar scenes. Riitta, you had mentioned working plein air sometimes and using reference photos that your children have taken, which I think is amazing to get the family involved in your practice. Shweta, how do you work? Do you use reference photography, or is some of this just kind of created out of your brain?
I use reference pictures. I take those on, like I said, national parks or hikes. And I also have a Facebook group actually of artists. It's called something landscape reference pictures. So these are all copyright free pictures that people post, and you can just use them to paint.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's another way. But yeah, I work in my home studio. I don't really paint plein air like she does. Yeah, it's something that you need a lot of practice with and patience, I think.
Yeah. And then we come to our final piece on this wall. Then is one of Riitta's. So it's a very dynamic exhibition and an interesting sort of compare and contrast that can be done with your bodies of work, just off a quick glance here from this video, which doesn't do the work justice. If you're watching this before the show closes, please come into the gallery and check it out in person. You really have to get up close to see all of the interesting brushwork going on and to really appreciate the skill and artistry that these artists have presented in their fantastic paintings. So now we are going to go a little deeper. Each artist has selected a painting of theirs that's on display, and they're going to talk a little bit about it and give you some more insights into who they are, how they go about making their work, and hopefully entice you again to come on down and see the show. How about Riitta? How about we start with you?
Sure.
Excellent.
The painting I chose was called West Coast Evening, which my son took on one of his hiking camping trips. And I did a watercolor first to sort of sort out the shapes. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, I really like this one just because of the rock formations and the color of the evening sun coming through. It's I think one of my favorites for a long time, and I'm hoping that I can find some more photos of his that grab me the same way. I mean, most of the photos in the background on the walls, the one directly behind Stephen is way up north, Vancouver Island, which was taken by my son on one of his 5-day hiking camping trips. But anyway, this painting, I just like the color and just the feeling of the quiet and the contrast of the rocks. So I don't know what else to say about this one.
Which season was this picture taken in? Was this summertime or?
I think it was June.
Okay. I'm looking at the sky colors. That's why I asked the question. We see these really beautiful pink and coral colors in the sky in Vancouver. So I was just
Yeah.
wondering about the season.
Anyway, this was Pheasant Beach. I can't give you the exact location. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, it's a beautiful spot.
No, it's a fantastic piece. I've never been there, but I would love to go just based on this. Awesome. So do you usually start your work with sort of a sketch like that watercolor that you did at first, or is that sort of how your process usually happens?
I quite often do some sort of sketch beforehand. In this one, I just wanted to work out the colors with the watercolor. And it, yeah, sort of helped me think a little more about the rocks and the colors on the rocks. Anyway, so
Oh, that's
I think the now that I look at it like this, I think the foreground color could have been a little brighter, but there we go.
That's the
always,
case with all the artists. I think we
yeah,
keep looking and find something that we can correct.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
But maybe the screen is not showing the actual colors.
yeah, yeah. You just have to paint it again.
Yep.
No, that
So
oh, thank you for sharing. That contrast in color is really quite interesting. It's subtle but powerful. You know, all those yellows and browns against those sort of blues and grays. It's very strong, but gentle at the same time.
thank you.
Which I personally kind of feel about a lot of your work, Riitta, is there's a lot of dramatic lighting and interesting color choices, and it could be very bold, but there's a softness about your work, a welcomingness to it, where it's very dramatic, but it's not overpowering. You can feel like you're just gently walking into the scenes. And I wonder what sort of your intention is in creating pieces like this. Are you trying to strike some kind of really visceral impact with your viewers, or is it more about creating just a piece of beauty and solitude?
Well, I usually try to keep things more simplified and just the feeling of the piece walking along the beach at that time of night.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those insights into that fantastic painting. Now our other artist, Shweta, we've got your work coming up here that's on display. Could you please tell us about this work?
So this piece that I have chosen is called Riding the Wave. And this whole series is actually based on all of the West Coast seascapes. So not particularly, not just BC, Oregon, Washington, some of California as well. So the BC, or the West Coast ocean seascapes was the theme for this series. And I was trying to explore neutral tones. So I use a lot of colors in my paintings. So this is a really muted color palette for me. And that's why it was challenging. At the same time, I really love the effect that it creates, like with the grays and the neutral tones. I still have added some color to it and then see where it takes me. And if I talk about my technique, I use a lot of texturing medium on the canvas. There are different kinds of texturing gels available now and a modeling paste as well. I mix those up and put it on the canvas and then paint over it. You can also mix colors into it and actually just use the paste directly on canvas. And once I do that, I use layers of colors and I scratch uh, the paint on top to see what's underneath. And I keep doing it until I find the right balance. And that's the real challenge. Like you see hard edges and you have to sort of balance it with the softer ones and areas that are covered in color, whereas some texture here and there. And so it's just a lot of play, really play with different elements, whether it's color or texture or lines. And love to paint with big brushes on big scale, so that's where you get the big strokes. And that's how I play, and I usually don't choose the exact colors that I see in the picture. I just choose colors that come to my mind, or sometimes I have colors that I've seen in some random places, like maybe clothing store, or just random things that we see in day-to-day life, and I try to incorporate and see where it takes me. So it's a journey every time for me. It's a quest every single time, and it doesn't really go well every single time. It fails, and but that's how I learn. That's how I know that, oh, this did not work out, but this part did. So that's how you keep going, I guess.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that behind the scenes look into your process, which is very interesting. Thank you for explaining the layers and scraping things away, because it's quite striking how you can see in some of the water, you can see that those yellows and oranges underneath that were sort of there originally. Um, I'm curious about with your technique. Um, do you start with a composition all of the time, or do you just maybe start with colors and brushwork and then sort of work it out from there?
So I usually have a reference picture, and
Hmm.
so I choose a composition usually. So I know the shapes, but it changes in the play. It cannot be exactly the same, but I have a composition in mind, and I have I think the how do I say, the contrast and light in mind. So that's about the higher level things that I have in mind. And then color is not really, I mean, it should not be a hindrance to your creativity, I think. Like if you have the composition and the way the light flows in mind, then you should just explore the rest of the elements. So maybe you can do the other way around, like just keep something constant and explore the others, like in your own way. And I think water, because the topic is water this time, the waves, it allows me to explore it in an abstract way, because water has an element of abstract in it. So that's why maybe it flows very freely. And I have developed this technique over time, actually. I used to paint sort of impressionistic, realistic, but then I painted abstracts for a while. And that's how I loosen up the work. I started, just letting it go and let it flow, and the colors would just let it drop and see where it goes. And that's how this mixture of both things is created this new technique, I guess.
That's very interesting because there is so much energy and movement and gesture happening in your brushwork. To know that you used to be a bit more, I don't know if constrained is the right word, but attempting to be more realistic, and now you're doing work like this. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think when we start, I think we start with copying things. That's how I started. Like I would copy from the well-known artist and I would like to paint like them. And then I tried a variety of things, and then you explore your own way eventually. So, and I'm sure this will change too, even this will change over time. So that's how it keeps changing. I mean, I would like to keep going in different directions and do it consistently, though explore it in my own way and not get stuck in a particular box, I guess.
Yeah. You had mentioned that in some of these works you're working with a limited color palette. Um, why this? You want to sort of challenge yourself, but why? What about these particular uh, colors drew you to them that you thought would help represent uh, these landscapes, these seascapes, the emotions associated with them?
Right. So for the tones underneath, I usually choose warmer tones, and I have tried different combinations. And this particular, I don't know if this is a Turner's yellow, I think, and there is some reds in there. And the blues, I wanted cooler blues so that I could tone it down a bit. I have also painted some other compositions in warmer blues. And it's like, I think for artists, it's like an obsession. You just keep painting with different combinations. So for this particular one, I was going for a cooler kind of a composition. So that's why this one is Prussian blue, I think. And then some cooler reds in it. So that's how, and in terms of colors, this is how I think cooler and warmer colors. And then it sort of chooses the color palette.
It was a great choice, I think. It's very interesting. Uh, I had a visitor in the other day and mentioning, I wouldn't have assumed that I could see those sort of those purples and pinks in sort of rocks along the beach like that. But upon thinking about it, they were like, you know what? Actually, yeah, you would see
Yeah,
that
there
in
are, there
there.
are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't notice it. It's there, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Uh, Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, thank both of you for offering those insights into your creative minds. Now, with this sort of subject that you're both capturing in your own ways, uh, what is it? You've both kind of mentioned this a little bit already into to why you create these pieces and what inspires you. But what is it that you're hoping visitors to the exhibition will take away once they've seen your work, if you even hope that there's anything specific that you think they should take away? I'll leave that up to either of you to answer, or both of you.
Well, I some of my paintings, they're going in a different direction now that I'm going back to acrylics. So if you go to the North Shore Artist Guild show on the 9th, I have paintings in there that are quite a bit different from what I've been working on. So they're more recent. And so it's just a matter of exploring and finding the right combination of loose and tight, really.
So, thanks, Riitta.
Yeah, I would say that it's often very interesting to see what the viewers have to say. Because when the artist creates something, they have something in their mind. And it's really amazing when people come and find a connection with the art piece, with their own story. So I would like to hear from them actually and hear their stories about how they find connection with the particular piece.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the great thing about artwork, is that it can make connections between the artist, the viewer. Maybe there's a group of people looking at it at the same time. We can all draw our own interpretations about what it means to us and what speaks to us. And when you come on and see the exhibit, please leave those impressions in the guest book so we can share them with our artists and they can get all your fantastic feedback. So I think that's about it for our talk today. I really appreciate everyone who is watching this live and everyone who's going to watch this in the future. If you want to know more about Shweta Patil and Riitta Peirone, there is links in the description of this video to their websites and their social media, so you can follow them there and see what they're doing on a regular basis, all their updates. And please come on down and see In Awe Transformative Landscapes at the Silk Purse Arts Center until December 21st. Thank both of you for being here and sharing these insights. And it's been a great conversation hearing what you have to say about art.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for the beautiful hanging and all your hard work to get us to this point. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Thanks for everything. And I have told you that you've done a great job with putting up the show. Probably I would not have done it this well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to display. One, I think you're both incredibly talented and your work just brought so much joy to me, but it was also just interesting to try and make relationships between your work, whereas you each have certain things that you're trying to capture or portray, but sort of try and tell that story was a lot of fun. So again, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you for listening and watching, and come on down, see the exhibit, and in the meantime, take care and stay creative. We'll have another chat about art in a month or so. So join us then. Take care. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.